3, 2, and 1. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Vicky, and in today's video, I'm going to be going through the book of James, chapter 1, verses 1 through 12, and basically what inspired today's video is that prior to diving into the book of James, mind you, I had never read it before, so I had no idea what it was going to be about, but right as I was going to go into the book of James, I was really struggling in my life. I was really struggling to have faith and basically just like see God's hand in my life and in my current circumstance. And as soon as I started reading literally chapter 1, within the first couple verses, I felt the Lord speaking to my soul because it was just too perfect for what I was going through in that moment. So I wanted to take everything that I learned from this chapter and these few verses and share that with you guys in case you guys are also struggling and going through a season where you're struggling to have faith and struggling to see God's hand in your current circumstance. So we're gonna just dive right in. I'm gonna read and then just kind of give my own commentary. So let's just get started. So James chapter 1 is about faith during trials and temptations. However, in today's video, we're just going to talk about faith during trials. But if you guys really wanted me to do a video about temptation, then I can definitely do that. But for today's video, we're going to focus on faith in the middle of trials. So something that I found really interesting that I didn't know was that this James is actually the half brother of Jesus, and he actually didn't introduce himself as Jesus' half brother because verse 1 says, James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes in the dispersion. So he introduced himself as a servant of Christ, not as Jesus' half brother, but as a servant because he recognized that Jesus is his Lord. And I just think that's like such a humble way to introduce yourself, and it didn't come from a holier than thou place like I'm Jesus's half brother, but like I am a servant of Jesus Christ. And I loved that. Verse 2 says, "Count it all joy, brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing." So it says when you meet trials of various kinds, meaning we are going to go through trials in this life. We are not guaranteed a life free of trials. We're guaranteed that we are going to go through trials. It is completely inevitable. But it says that the testing of your faith, going through these trials, is what is going to test our faith. It's going to produce steadfastness. According to the Enduring Word, it said that trials are used to produce patience, endurance, and just give us strength. And I think going through trials shows us two things. One, it's a reminder that we alone are weak and we need Jesus because he is the source of our strength. And it also allows us to be able to learn, to grow, and to strengthen our faith going through these trials. It's basically kind of like a muscle, like your faith is a muscle, and if you want that muscle to grow and to strengthen, then you have to work it out. So the way that we work out that muscle is by going through trials and enduring within that, then you're able to grow and strengthen your faith or your muscle. So then it goes into talking about wisdom. So verse 5 says, "If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given to him, but let him ask in faith with no doubting." So basically, if you know that you need wisdom while you're going through a trial, then we just have to ask God for it. But we have to ask in faith and not with doubt, which was my issue. And these words just kind of like jumped out at me in my own head, have full faith. When we come to the Lord and ask Him for wisdom, ask Him for guidance, we need to have full faith with no doubt whatsoever. And then it says, for the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea that is driven and tossed by the wind. Verse 7 says, for that person must not suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. Whenever I read that, I was just kind of like taken back and like, my goodness, Lord, I hear you. I hear what you're speaking to me. This has been me, basically. The enduring word also regarding like being like a wave of the sea that is driven and tossed by the wind. It says that a wave of the sea is without rest, unstable, driven by the winds, and capable of great destruction. So whenever I read this, I realized that I was being double-minded. I was being this. I was basically double-minded means lacking trust, lacking faith in the Lord, and lacking trust in the Lord as well. And basically being between faith and unbelief. So like you have faith, but you also have a little bit of unbelief, and you're not really on either side. And what this is telling us is not to be double-minded, to have full faith and not to have any doubt. Because if you are asking with faith but with a little bit of doubt, you are being double-minded. And personally, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be double-minded. I don't want to be unstable. I want God to be my firm foundation. Verse 9 through 11 says, let the lowly brother boast in his exaltation. I don't know how you say that. Exaltation? Exaltation. That sounds... Am I saying that right? And the rich in his humiliation, because like a flower of the grass, he will pass away. For the sun rises with its scorching heat and withers the grass. Its flower falls and its beauty perishes. So also will the rich man fade away in the midst of his pursuits. So this is like a reminder that life is going to fade away. And if we get too comfortable and we put our life and our identity into the earthly things that are going to fade away, then we too are going to fade away. So what we need to do is instead put our life and our identity into the things from above, the things of eternity, because those are the things that will never fade away. Whenever I'm going through a difficult circumstance, I am just so hyper focused on my problem, or sometimes I create my own problem in my own head, and the reality is that there is no problem. And I'm just so hyper focused on this one issue that I'm just so focused on this earthly thing when I should be trusting the Lord and focusing on Him and on the things from above rather than this issue and just trying to solve it myself. So to close this out, I'm going to read verse 12, which is so encouraging. It says, "Blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial, for when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life which God has promised to those who love Him." So before I end this video, I wanted to share something with you guys. I actually saw a TikTok yesterday, and I had written out my notes for this already. I had it ready, but I saw this video yesterday and I just had to add this in here. So this girl said that in order for you to strengthen your faith and to be able to see God's hand in your life in that moment, you basically have to build a resume of faithfulness. So this was her analogy, that every time you go through a trial, it's your job to step out of that boat and just trust that God is going to meet you right there where you are. Because the more that you do that, then the more you're really going to start seeing God's hand in your life, and you're going to be strengthening your faith in Him, and you're going to see Him show up. And that's basically how you build your resume of faithfulness, is just by continually getting off of that boat, stepping out of that boat, and waiting for God to show up, and just having faith that He's going to show up, so that whenever you come across a situation where you're struggling to have faith, where you're struggling to see God work in your life, then you could look back on your resume of faithfulness and see where he's shown up for you before in the past. And it's like an encouragement that if he showed up for me back then he's gonna show up for me now, because he has promised that he is not going to leave us or forsake us. I just thought that was an amazing analogy and a great way to look at going through trials and strengthening your faith in the middle of those trials. So I'm gonna leave that TikTok link down below so you guys can check it out and check out her TikTok videos because they're really good. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really hope this was encouraging to somebody out there. If you found this video helpful in any way, or if you just liked it, then please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. All the links to my social media will be linked down below. And I will see you guys in my next video.